My wife said during Easter brunch. I should tell you now I've been seeing someone you know. The whole table went silent. I replied calmly, all right. Thanks for being honest today. What she didn't realize was that I already knew who it was. And I prepared something for this exact moment. When I opened the folder I brought with me, her entire face changed. I'm Daniel, 35, and 2 months ago I learned that sometimes the best response to betrayal is patience and preparation. My wife Melissa and I had been married for 7 years, together for 10 total. We met in grad school, both getting our MBAs, bonded over late-night study sessions, and shared ambition. She went into corporate consulting. I ended up in financial planning. We built what looked like a solid life. Nice house in the suburbs, 2 cars, a golden retriever named Bailey, the whole package. From the outside, we were the couple people envied. The cracks started showing about 8 months ago, though I didn't recognize them as cracks at first. Melissa started working later, taking more client dinners, being glued to her phone in ways she hadn't been before. She'd smile at texts and then quickly lock her screen when I'd walk into the room. She started going to the gym more often, bought new clothes, changed her perfume. All things that individually seem innocent, but together formed a pattern I was too trusting to see immediately. The real wake-up call came 3 months ago on a random Tuesday night. I'd come home early from work. A meeting got canceled, and found Melissa on the back patio, phone pressed to her ear, voice low and intimate in a way I hadn't heard directed at me in months. I know, I miss you too, she was saying. He's working late tonight. We could meet around 8. She turned and saw me through the glass door. Her face went white. She quickly wrapped up the call with a fake cheerful, "Okay, Mom, talk to you later," and came inside. "Your mom?" I asked. "Yeah, she's been going through some stuff. You know how she gets." I nodded, but something in my gut twisted. Her mom lived in Florida, and they talked maybe once a month, usually with me in the room. I didn't push it that night. Instead, I started paying attention. Over the next 2 weeks, I noticed more. The way she'd angle her phone away from me. How she'd volunteered to run errands that used to annoy her. The nights she'd come home and immediately shower, claiming the gym had been extra sweaty. I'm not a naturally suspicious person, but I'm also not an idiot. I hired a private investigator. Cost me $2,500 for 2 weeks of surveillance, but it was worth every penny. The PI's report came back with photos, timestamps, location data. Melissa had been meeting someone at hotels, restaurants in the next town over, even at our house on days I was supposed to be working. And the person she was seeing? My former college roommate and longtime friend, Trevor. Trevor had been my best man at our wedding. He'd been over for dinner dozens of times. He'd helped us move into our house. He was godfather to our friend's kid alongside me. And he'd been sleeping with my wife for at least 5 months, probably longer. The report detailed 23 separate meetups. Hotel rooms charged to his credit card. Lunch dates where they held hands across the table. Text message extracts the PI had managed to obtain showing explicit planning and reminiscing about their time together. I sat in my car in a parking lot reading that report for an hour, just processing. Then I did something I'm oddly proud of. I didn't confront her. I didn't blow up or make a scene. I started planning. First, I called my lawyer. Showed him everything. He advised me on exactly how to proceed to protect myself financially. I quietly started moving money to accounts she didn't know about, documented all our assets, prepared for what was coming. Second, I made copies of everything. Multiple copies. Cloud backups, physical printouts, USB drives hidden in my office at work. I wasn't taking chances. Third, I waited. I played the role of oblivious husband while gathering more evidence, documenting every lie, every late night, every fake excuse. It was exhausting, but I needed to be absolutely certain before I made my move. The opportunity came when Melissa suggested we host Easter brunch at our house. "Let's invite your parents and my parents, maybe Trevor and some other friends," she'd said. It would be nice to have everyone together. The audacity of inviting Trevor to a family event while sleeping with him was almost impressive. But it also gave me the perfect stage for what I needed to do. "Sure," I'd said. "That sounds great." Update 1 Easter Sunday morning, I woke up at 6 a.m. Melissa was still asleep. I went downstairs and did a final check of everything I'd prepared. The folder was in my briefcase in the car, a black leather portfolio containing printouts of the PI's report, photos, text message transcripts, hotel receipts, everything organized chronologically with tabs and highlights, I'd also prepared a second envelope, sealed, containing divorce papers I'd already filed. My lawyer had fast-tracked everything. All it needed was her signature. People started arriving around 11 a.m. My parents first, then Melissa's parents, then a handful of friends. Trevor showed up at 11:30 with a bottle of wine and a smile, shaking my hand like nothing was wrong. I smiled back, made small talk, let him get comfortable that we ate around noon. Ham, deviled eggs, roasted vegetables, all the traditional stuff Melissa had spent the morning preparing. She was in her element, playing hostess, laughing and chatting with everyone. I watched her perform, wondering if she felt any guilt at all. Around 12:45, we were having dessert. Lemon meringue pie, coffee, the table full of people comfortable and relaxed. That's when Melissa set down her fork and cleared her throat. "I actually have something I need to say," she announced. The table went quiet, everyone turning to look at her. "I should tell you now I've been seeing someone you know." The silence was absolute. My mother's face went pale. Melissa's dad looked confused. Trevor, sitting 3 seats down from me, looked like he might be sick. I set down my coffee cup calmly. "All right. Thanks for being honest today." Melissa looked at me, seeming surprised by my reaction. She'd probably expected shock, anger, tears. Instead, I reached down to my bag beside my chair and pulled out the black folder. "Since we're being honest," I said, opening it, "let me share some honesty too." I pulled out the first set of photos, Melissa and Trevor entering a hotel together, timestamp clearly visible. I placed it in the center of the table where everyone could see. February 14th, Valentine's Day. While I thought you were at a work conference, you were actually at the Marriott downtown. Room 412. Melissa's face went from confident to confused to horrified in about 3 seconds. Trevor pushed his chair back slightly. I laid out another photo. March 3rd. Lunch at Marcello's in Riverside. You told me you were meeting a college friend. Trevor here called in sick to work that day. Daniel, Melissa started. March 18th. Our house. I was supposed to be in meetings all afternoon, but they got moved. The PI I hired got some interesting shots through our bedroom window. I didn't actually show those photos to the table. I'm not cruel. But the implication was cleared. My father stood up, looking at Trevor with an expression I'd never seen before. "Get out of my son's house." Trevor mumbled something and practically ran for the door. We heard his car start seconds later. Melissa was crying now. "How long have you known?" "About 10 weeks. I hired an investigator after I overheard you on the phone with him." "Why didn't you say something?" "Because I needed to be sure. And I needed evidence." And honestly, I pulled out the second envelope and slid it across to her. I needed time to prepare for this. She opened it with shaking hands. "Saw the divorce papers. You've already filed? 3 weeks ago. These just need your signature. My lawyer says if you contest it, all of this evidence goes into public record. If you sign, we can do this quietly. Daniel, please, can we talk about this? We are talking about it. In front of everyone who loves us, who you invited here, who you were willing to humiliate by confessing at Easter brunch. You wanted honesty? Here's all of it. 5 months of affair, 23 documented meetings, thousands of text messages I have saved. All of it is in here." I tapped the folder. Her mother was crying now too. Her father just looked disgusted. My mom came around the table and put her hand on my shoulder. "I think everyone should probably go," I said quietly. "Melissa and I need to talk through logistics." Update 2. Everyone left within 10 minutes. My parents offered to stay, but I told them I was fine, that I'd call them later. Melissa's parents left without even saying goodbye to her. The other friends who'd been there slipped out quietly, probably already composing the text they'd send each other the moment they got in their cars. When it was just Melissa and me, she collapsed into a chair, sobbing. "I'm so sorry. I don't know what I was thinking. It just happened, and then it kept happening, and I didn't know how to stop." You stop by stopping. You stop by remembering you're married. You stop by having a shred of integrity. I know. I'm a terrible person. You're not terrible. You're just someone who made choices and now has to live with consequences. Do we have to get divorced? Can we try therapy? Or, Melissa, you slept with my best friend for 5 months. You lied to me every single day. You brought him into our home. You invited him to Easter brunch while planning to confess your affair in front of our families. There is no therapy that fixes that. What happens now? Now you sign the papers. The house is in both our names, but I've already talked to my lawyer. You can buy out my half, or we sell it, and split the proceeds. I've documented all our assets, all our accounts. We split everything 50-50 except for the money I've already moved to protect myself. You moved money. Did you think I was going to leave our savings accessible while you were having an affair? I'm not stupid, Melissa. She looked at me with something like awe. You've been planning this for weeks. Yes, because unlike you, when I commit to something, I see it through properly. She signed the papers that night. Didn't even fight it. I think the reality of what she'd done and what she'd lost was finally sinking in. Final update. The divorce was finalized 6 weeks later. Melissa moved out within a week of Easter, stayed with her parents initially, then got an apartment closer to her work. We sold the house last month, got a good price, split it evenly. Bailey the dog came with me. That was the one thing she tried to fight for, but I had documentation showing I'd been the primary caregiver, paid all vet bills, and she eventually gave up. Trevor tried reaching out to me once, about 3 weeks after everything went down. Long text about how sorry he was, how he never meant to hurt me, how the situation just got away from him. I blocked his number without responding. I heard through mutual friends that his girlfriend left him when she found out. Apparently she'd had no idea he was cheating either. Melissa and Trevor aren't together now, from what I understand. Whatever they had burned out pretty quickly once it wasn't a secret anymore. I heard she's dating someone new, some guy from her gym. I genuinely don't care. My parents have been incredible through all of this. My dad took me fishing, something we hadn't done since I was a kid. My mom has been calling weekly just to check in. They never liked Melissa. I can see that now, but they were supportive when I was married, and they're supportive now that I'm not. I've been in therapy for the past month, working through the betrayal and trust issues. My therapist says I handled everything remarkably well, given the circumstances. I don't know if that's true or if I was just running on spite and planning for those 10 weeks between discovery and confrontation. That I'm living in a smaller place now, a townhouse about 20 minutes from where the old house was. It's actually nice, less to maintain, less space filled with memories I don't want anymore. I've been dating casually, nothing serious. Taking my time to figure out who I am outside of that marriage. The hardest part hasn't been missing Melissa. It's been missing the life I thought we were building. The future I'd imagined. But I'm starting to realize that future was built on a foundation of lies. And it's better to rebuild from scratch than to keep building on something rotten. Last week, I ran into someone from Melissa's office at a coffee shop. She approached carefully, probably unsure if I'd want to talk. I just wanted to say, she told me. Everyone at her company knew something was off with Trevor. The way they'd look at each other at events. I'm sorry no one said anything to you. Would I have believed you if you had? I asked. She thought about it. Probably not. People don't want to believe that stuff until they see it themselves. She's right. I wouldn't have believed it. I had to see it, document it, prove it to myself beyond any doubt before I could accept what was happening. But once I knew, I made damn sure everyone else knew too. Edit. A lot of people are asking why I confronted her at Easter brunch instead of privately. Honest answer? Because she chose to confess at Easter brunch in front of our families. She picked the venue. I just came prepared with evidence. If she'd wanted a private conversation, she had 10 months to initiate one. She chose public humiliation. I just made sure the humiliation landed where it belonged. Edit 2. For those wondering about the PI costs and lawyer fees, total I spent about $8,500 on the investigator, lawyer consultations, and filing fees. Worth every penny. The evidence made the divorce quick and clean, no contested assets, no drawn-out court battles. Sometimes paying upfront saves you exponentially more down the line.